Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Depths of Laughter podcast. We had some technical difficulties. I do apologize. That is why we were not right at 8 o'clock. We were ready. We were good to go. But the computer said, and apparently required some kind of update that it should have done overnight when I have it set up to do updates. But whatever. It's being a fickle
It
bitch.
happens.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, welcome. I am, of course, Vince Hoover. This is Denise Jackson, my wonderful co-host. And we just got back from one of the greatest weekends ever.
So good.
Had a fantastic time. Slight little life hiccup on the way home that has been furthered today, but we won't go into that right now until I have more answers. But all in all, absolutely wonderful experience. Got to go up into the mountains, got to see snow in April.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
amazing.
It was very amazing.
Had some fun times visiting an old friend who you guys met last week in Jacques, who should be in the chat room. There he is. Say hi, Jacques.
Yay.
So had a great time there, and we did some karaoke and had a blast doing that. So we're all kind of defragged and just in a better place. Life is moving forward, and so are we. So we've kind of teased it now since we started talking about Bo Burnham's Inside. I don't think there could be a clearer example of what this podcast is about than that particular stand-up special.
Yeah.
Denise finally got around to see it, but a little backstory as to why it took so long. I can tell you that unfortunately the day that special came out on Netflix was the day we found out that our best friend had passed away. So for me, I knew that Carl would want me to laugh, so I watched it and got even much more out of it than just some laughter. And I have since watched it, I can't even count, at least 100 times, I'm sure. But as Denise can attest, it was a different situation for her. She couldn't bring herself to watch it right away.
Well, not when you told me what,
it was about,
yeah, and so speak to that then before we get into why, because I feel like that's important. There's a reason why it took so long for me to watch it personally because
Well, I think maybe
so
you might be able to actually explain that a little bit better.
okay. You said that well, obviously, he just goes very, very deep into it, which is amazing. There's not a lot of comedians that are actually open enough to put themselves out there like that. Bo Burnham definitely has no problem doing that. But when you told me that this is a very different special and you're gonna feel it a lot. So yeah, losing Carl, I definitely needed to get myself in the right headspace to watch that.
Yeah, Bo Burnham is metaphorically and even at some points literally naked in this special.
Yeah.
And the thing is about Bo Burnham, and this is somebody I've seen, I remember when his first Comedy Central Presents special came out. It was on his 18th birthday. And he was it was a funny kid with funny songs and
Confetti.
Yeah, but well, that was actually later. But in that very first special, he was there was a little bit of depth behind the comedy, but it was mainly just funny songs to make people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get Words, which is just brilliance personified. I love that special so much. But in there, you saw more of the emotion and the depth in it, especially when you got the songs like Art is Dead, which is not even a funny song, although it has some funny lines in it. It's not a funny song. And he even tells you that. He's like, this song's not funny, but it helps me sleep at night.
Right.
And it's literally a song about how artists are just ridiculous with their egos. And the fact that they get paid when people are starving just to have their egos fed is insane. But by the end of that special, you felt like there was something more going on. Then you see the next special, which is What? And that one, I mean, he has the whole left brain, right brain conversation. He has so much going on. And in that one, you're like, wow, he has got some deep stuff going on. I'm worried about him. Yes, it was very funny and it's very enjoyable. Then you watch Make Happy. And by the end of Make Happy, Denise and I watched that for the first time, and I literally turned to her and said, "He's going to kill himself."
Mm.
That was the first words out of my mouth. He didn't, thank God. But instead, he realized that there was something wrong, and he literally took 5 years off of comedy. He had actually quit for good. He was not planning on coming back, but he had gotten help. He had found ways to work through some things. He was starting to have severe anxiety on stage and whatnot, and he decided that finally in 2020, he's like, you know what? Maybe it is time for me to get back out there. And then, of course, COVID hit, and it out of all that crap, it birthed what is to me one of the most unique and incredible stand-up specials that has ever been produced. And I'm not. This is not hyperbole to me. This is. I legit feel like this is something that nobody else could have done. First off, and it changed the game. It is literally a game changer special.
I think so too. It is very, very unique. And you just get to see him and his genius, like
Jacques agrees.
yeah.
But go on.
It
Go on.
yeah. Oh, I just so okay. One of my favorite things was when he had a knife in his hand and he was like talking about like it's very dry humor, but I do have like appreciation for dry humor. But he's like holding a knife in his hand and he's like, "So, hi friends. Let's talk about thank you so much for watching my videos. I think about this so hard. I appreciate like, oh my god.
Yeah, he's talking and almost like it's lit up.
Yeah.
It's lit up with this nice bright green, and he's well lit, more well lit than most of the special, and he's got like this
Yeah.
almost Mr. Rogers kid show voice going on,
Yes.
and he's like, "I just want to thank you guys so much for turning it. I've put my heart and soul, but the whole time, like all of a sudden he pulls a knife up and he's pointing it at you and whatnot, almost like he's almost threatening you to continue. Yeah, like LOL, subscribe, no pressure, just ignore the knife. That's
Yeah.
what Jacques said.
Yeah.
Like yes, like there's like this like but a lot of this special does go after current social media culture.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there's a whole song called "White Woman Instagram," which is again brilliant. There's not a single part of this video that I even want to skip, or this special. I mean,
So
um,
why do you feel like people have to feel like they have to it feels like we feel like as a person that wants to go out there and do something that we have to be like Disney, like be like not like don't be your genuine self. Like you have to placate to what's going to be acceptable. I don't like that. Like just be yourself. Why do you always have to feel like freaking Mr. Rogers all the time? Like,
well, like that's the culture we live in right now. We live in the Zoomers, which are now like because now we're elder millennials. We were right at the breach of like we're the first branch of millennials that came out, and there were so many people who uh participation trophies, whatever. There was this acceptance because the generation before us dealt with a lot of failure and dealt with a lot
yeah.
of not being accepted. And
Mm,
then millennials, they're having kids now, and those kids are Zoomers, and that's the generation right now, and that's TikTok, and everything is instant gratification, instant
yeah.
acknowledgement,
Yeah.
instant validation, and it has permeated society to a point where everybody wants to be famous. And the thing is, before social media, before the internet, everybody still wanted to be famous. People still wanted to be famous. It was just much harder to become famous
But that's my question. Why is acting like that what people feel is going to get them famous?
because it
Like,
works.
ugh, it's
So many
so
people like,
plastic.
and what's,
It reminds me of that
yeah,
Barbie girl song. I'm a
well,
Barbie girl.
it's like Clueless is like
Yeah.
a good example of pre social media version of it, but still. But then there's a great Black Mirror episode where like everybody, like the entire world in the future, everybody has these their phones, and you literally rate people. So if you
Huh.
bump, like, say you're walking down the street and you bump some guy, like somebody bumps into you, not paying attention,
Yeah.
you can turn around and rate them and say, "Oh no, 2 stars." Your rating affects you getting a
Wow.
job. Your rating affects you getting a house. Your rating affects you in dating because people see, oh, you're not 5 star. No, thank you. This woman, like, so the main character is played by Bryce Dallas Howard. She's trying to get her star rating back up to 5 because her best friend is getting married, but her best friend's getting married to a socialite. So you have to be 5 stars just to get into the wedding, even though it's
Oh
her
my
best
god.
friend. So like the whole journey, it's great, but that's where society is kind of headed.
Oh, it
Jacques
seems,
says
yeah.
it's most often comes coupled with a desire for success. They are less worried about being themselves and far more worried about the numbers, which translates into money.
Yeah.
And he mentions that episode is a great episode. Bryce Dallas Howard was amazing. Yes, it's a very good Black Mirror. For anybody who hasn't seen it, that whole series was fantastic. It's on Netflix. But now the creators of Black Mirror said we want to make more episodes, but we can't because society has surpassed what we could invent and is now far scarier than anything we ever could have done.
I totally see that.
So they're just like, we can't do anymore. The last thing they did was a movie called I forgot the name of the movie. I have to think about it, but it's a choose your own adventure movie on Netflix where you actually get to pick your path.
Huh,
So
that's
certain times
cool.
the movie kind of pauses and it asks you to pick an option. And
Hmm.
so there's several different endings to the movie. Apparently there's a secret ending that nobody still has found. But that was the last thing they did. But even that one, they're like, we can't even do that again. Like there's no, like you guys have gotten society to a point where you have surpassed the things that we came up with. And so we're lost. Like, what do we do?
But that's why I
Bandersnatch. Thank you,
found that
Jacques.
point on Bo Burnham so funny, is because if you know okay, well, if you were just watching that clip, then everybody else could have been like, oh, and it just fit into everybody else. But if you know Burbo, like if you know him, it's like, no, he's literally just calling these people out for how fake it actually is. Like, why are you placating to everybody? Like, you're literally one out of thousands of people doing the same shit, which is
No.
why.
But even in that song, White Woman Instagram, Intergram,
And how
how old am
relevant,
I?
like, it speaks of like everything, pumpkin candles
Yeah,
and
it nails everything. It nails the fakeness of it. But remember what I showed
everything.
you to look at when we watched it a second time? How
What?
everything was shot like as if it was shot from a phone perspective. So there was big black bars on the side. It was
Yeah.
shot portrait style until he
Hmm.
got to the one post that this woman was posting that was actually legit and emotional about her mother passing away. And
Oh
all of a
yeah,
sudden those
yeah.
black bars faded away and it became a full size screen. The full
Yeah.
picture. This woman is actually hurting. And even though she's doing well for herself, she still hurts having lost her parents. And then it gets back to like then it goes into like more Instagram stuff and those bars come back.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by the brilliance of this special because it goes beyond just the lyrics and the songs that are brilliant. The way it is shot, the way he did it, and he
Yes.
does it all himself. Excuse me. It
That's
is literally all
yes.
himself. It is him locked in a shed for over a year. I think it's almost 18 months. And he is locked in the shed, refusing to leave, shoots everything himself, all the special effects, all the editing, music mixing, the whole nine. Some of his most complex songs come out of this too, and it's and there's another one called "Welcome to the Internet," which is just
Yes.
a great song, and it
Mm.
talks about during the breakdown where it slows down. It talks about how it all started as just a couple chat rooms, a blog here and there, back when we got on the internet when it was just
That's
AOL.
when we had the sound.
Yeah, yeah, the dial up,
Yeah.
and all
Yes.
that, and all we had was those AOL disc
That's
that you
it.
found in magazines to get your free 3 months of internet, and then it kept,
Insert more quarters for 3 more minutes.
and all you had was a couple chat rooms. You had you know, some travel vlogs and different things,
Yep.
but like if you wanted to download a picture, it took like 4 hours, you
These
know.
kids know nothing about Rolodexes
Yeah.
or Dewey Decimal System.
But he talks about the vast growth over 20 years of the internet and what it's become now and how it sucks you in. And that's what the whole song's
Yeah.
about is that
Hmm.
um, a little bit of everything all of the time.
Yep.
And it's just, you have at your fingertips, you literally have the world. And what do we
Yeah.
use it for? Instagram likes, porn,
Yep.
and like, you know, Googling dark web crap. Like nobody's using it. Like it's not being used where it should be used. Finding stuff that fits your narrative versus finding the truth, stuff like that. And
But it's really hard to find the truth on the internet. You have to like really like validate your sources too.
but that's the thing is he's talking about again. It
Yeah.
goes back to instant gratification. People don't
Yeah.
aren't because your phone is designed as an algorithm to understand what you search for and give you searches based on your previous searches.
Yeah.
So it's going to give you sources that fit your narrative versus you validating what the source actually is.
I think it's really funny that that was actually a course for me in college, how to find accurate sources
Yeah.
instead of fake shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's like I'm going to pull up the song list so we have
That was
you know,
$1,400 for that. Thanks,
nice.
Ashford University. No. What are you
I'm pulling
pulling
up the
up?
song list that way I can, he had FaceTime with my mom,
Oh yeah,
you
that
know.
was well, there again, you can actually see him feeling really bad about blowing up at his mom, but he's been like stuck in this like deep space for so long that you have your thumb over the freaking camera. Move your thumb.
I think the word of the day today is going to be dichotomy because there's a lot of dichotomy in what he does. Because that song's kind of like upbeat and fun. He even talks about I got to tell my boys I can't hang because I got to FaceTime with my mom. Like
Yeah,
he's making it sound
yeah,
like it's this important thing, but you see in his facial expressions how he doesn't want to spend 40 minutes doing this.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
doesn't want to hear about the season 6 finale of Blacklist. He doesn't want to talk to his dad. He does talk to his dad. They have 2 lines each, and it's the
And
deepest
that's
conversation
the
he's ever had.
mhm.
Um, his, his mom, and it's just again, it's also a generational thing because like her hair's wet. She forgets she's on a camera phone. She's like, "Oh, how'd you know I got out of the shower?" It's like, "Cause your hair's wet." She's like, "Oh yeah." There's so much to that. There's that one.
Yeah.
I think unpaid intern is brilliant
Yes.
because first off, it's a short little like a clip of a song that he then goes on to review, like making fun of people who go online and review other people's music as a way of making money.
Oh yeah.
But then he
That was
reviews his
awesome.
review, and then he reviews his review of the review, and the whole
It's
time it's like,
the reaction
yeah,
videos.
and like the initial reaction is what he's trying to portray, and then the self-deprecation is in the second review, and then the
Yeah.
third one talks about being a defense mechanism, but then he kind of like this is like
Yes.
all right, I gotta stop. But the actual song in Unpaid Intern is actually very deep in and of itself, talking about modern slave labor disguised as college credits. Like there's even depth to this little, but it's all upbeat and jazzy, blah blah blah. It's got like this like almost like swing music kind of sound to it.
Interns'
Yeah,
lives matter too.
yeah. Jacques liked the reaction video one. He gave it a little heart. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just there's that. There's 2 songs about Jeffrey Bezos. One's more of like a just like a quick intermission thing, but
Mm.
it's it sounds like it's a big tribute song to Jeffrey Bezos, but it's really like shitting on him hardcore. Because Jeffrey Bezos is now the richest man in the world and doesn't give a shit about his employees. Like there's all that stuff about Amazon workers having to pee in bottles because they can't go on break, or the bathroom is literally 3 miles on the other end of the warehouse and they can't make it in break time. So they literally have to pee in bottles and stuff, and they can't get raises, and they're fighting unions and all kinds of stuff. Like Amazon has gone above and beyond to try to fight unions, and
Yeah.
and using her husband's account, Monica is in the chat.
What's up,
Thank you,
Monica?
Monica. Riding the backs of your husband there. I see that. Using his account instead of your own. Well done. Um, so, and that's why you hear me talk about make Jeffrey Bezos pay for your subscription to the Twitch channel. If you're on
Yeah.
Twitch, use a Prime sub because Amazon pays for it. Make Jeffrey Bezos pay for it. I'm gonna get a clip of the song where he's saying his name. So every time somebody uses a Prime sub, it'll play that. I want to get that. The content song. And what's funny is he wrote that with a lot of this is it's taking a huge stab at social media. It's taking a huge stab at people doing that, and yet people missed that and took the songs and put them on TikTok and are using the sounds on TikTok, doing the very thing he is making fun of you for.
Oh my God. What comes around goes around. Isn't there a country song about that? Tear my beer. I'm sure there
I'm
is.
sure there is. There's all kinds of stuff. Which, by the way, on the Make Happy special, his his song about country music called Pandering is brilliant. It is beyond brilliant. Um, I love that. But so the first song is content, but that's kind of a quick song. Then there's that song Comedy. and this is the first time you see there's going to be actual emotion in this. Because he's talking about, are we really going to be joking? Can we really be joking at a time like this
Yeah,
with
that
everything
was
going on? And then he rolls into the fact that he's like, wait, I'm a white man with power. Of course I should be joking about this, and of course you should be listening to me. You know? And then there's even that moment he's like, white people have had the floor for 400 years. Shouldn't I just sit back and shut the fuck up? And then he's pause, pause, pause. I'm bored. And he continued, and that's like the reality of the world. Is like there's so many people out there who are like, oh yeah, I'm with the cause too. Like these famous white people who
yeah,
want to throw their name out there just for relevancy, when the
yeah.
reality is they're just bored or they're just looking for clout. Um,
I don't understand that. And also, you don't have a choice what skin color you're born into.
yeah.
You really don't. So why are we even having that be a thing anyway? Like I
Well, because
really don't
unfortunately,
understand that.
unfortunately, racism still exists, but
And it's
it's
stupid.
very stupid. It's very
It's
stupid,
very superficial and I
and it's
don't
based in
agree.
nothing. It's literally based in nothing. But
Nothing.
he has a great point in that yes, white people in power, famous white people should speak up, but they should speak up because they want to and they have a valid way to help, not speak up so that they look like they're helping and are getting clout from it.
How about they're
Unfortunately,
just regular people?
most of them, well, they have
That'd be great.
because famous people have a voice. People see
Okay.
them more. They have a
But then
platform.
don't say anything about race. Just do good things without any kind of connotation of what color you are involved.
Well,
Why
no,
does
what
that ever have to be a thing?
I can see where you can come in and fight against racism. I can see that. I can
No,
understand that.
it's just stupid. How about just don't involve yourself in it's just dumb. Like
Yeah, it's dumb, but here's the thing that when it comes to racism, all the people who aren't racist, who are silent, you're not helping the cause because it's still there.
I
You have
feel
to
like
fight the
any
cause.
fuel to a cause is just perpetuating, like making it more of a thing. Like it's never going to. I mean, how about it just doesn't exist? How about just think about it that way?
You can't though. You can't because that's just being blind.
I mean, I don't know. You don't have to subscribe to anything you don't want to.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
But also people shouldn't be using it as a way to gain more fame because
exactly.
that's arguably sometimes worse. Jacques says, "What about the rich part though? Isn't that still just people placing people in a category?" Absolutely, that's part of elitism and classism. But we also live in a world that's capitalism. So unfortunately, we have rich people, we have poor people. Rich people should be helping. That is why when Ronald Reagan created trickle down economics, on paper, it looked great. Trickle down economics looked fantastic on paper. The rich would get rich, and they would then take those riches that they made, and spread it down, making the poor people richer and bringing them out of poverty to middle class. Except the rich people made that money and then just kept it. It never trickled down. So on paper, it looked great. So unfortunately, because of capitalism, we do have separate classes. We have people out there that need help. The reason that you want to start your charity, Denise, is because so many kids go hungry because they can't afford their lunch. Yet Jeffrey Bezos has so much money,
Yeah, that's
he could
making
literally
me
spend
very
a
angry.
$1 billion on this
Yeah.
and he wouldn't even notice.
That's the thing. Like I hate how much money it's going to take for me to start my charity that I want to start just to get it off the ground. And it's
Yeah,
like, really, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever, I'm still going to make it happen.
of course we are. Absolutely.
Yep.
Because those kids don't deserve to starve. Nobody does.
They do
Nobody
not.
does.
No.
Honestly, Jeffrey Bezos could take $10 billion right now, fix homelessness, fix the water issue in Flint, fix transportation issues, fix the school problems, and he would never notice that money gone. He has so much money you say 10 billion and that is an insane amount, right? To anybody
Mm.
else. To him, he wouldn't even notice.
Well, so then here's my question. How come you have people like us that don't have that money at their disposal and we have all these great ideas that we want to do with if we did have that money, But then here's somebody that does have that money and they're not in the same realm of ideas of trying to help and fix things. It feels like very counterproductive.
Because most rich people, most, not all of them, but I would say most of them, are birthed into richness. They don't get to see the world like we see it. They've never struggled. They have no idea. That's the other part of it, Jacques. Morality. Most of those people become so, quote unquote, good at business that they lose all sense of morality and are willing to cut whatever corners it is to make their business successful. And they lose sight of humanity. Like how can
Well, then
like
I guess we're blessed in that way. At least we still have that.
exactly?
So,
And I think that's far more rich than anybody
yeah.
with billions of dollars.
But then can we just like do both of it where we can like
So here's
fix things
just so you
and
understand. I want you to understand why Jeffrey Bezos has no idea what humanity is. His current net worth is $180 billion.
oh my god.
180 billion.
Do
That's
you know
why I
what I can
said
do with that money? So much help.
he could literally take half of his money, fix everything in the world, and still have $90 billion. Like that's absolute insanity.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would buy my own island to where everybody can get the fuck off away from me. I would probably buy my own island.
Nothing wrong with
But
that. Because what's that going to cost you? It's going to cost you maybe 100 million total. That's
yeah.
that's a tiny percentage of that money. So you could do that. You can still. That's the thing. That's the thing. These
But I
rich
would
people don't
do it
understand.
after I did all the other stuff. But if I
Exactly.
had enough money, then I'm totally buying an island.
But that's what I mean. Like that's what these people don't understand is that, and that's kind of what Bo has been he keeps trying to push.
Yeah.
You can live a lavish, rich lifestyle and yet still help millions and millions, if not
Yeah.
billions, of people.
Yes.
Like I said, if Jeffrey Bezos took half of what he's worth, $90 billion, he could probably fix just about every problem in the world.
I don't know. Yeah, you can't fix stupid.
Absolutely
That's
insanity.
therein lies the problem.
That's why I said
Can't
almost
fix
every
stupid.
problem, because you can't fix stupid.
You can't fix stupid.
Um,
I
I think that was either a Ron White or a.
think it is Ron
I
White.
think
That
it's
sounds
you
like a
can't.
Ron
It's one
White
of his
thing.
specials was called "Can't Fix Stupid."
You can't fix stupid.
Um, Another great comedian, by the way. Love him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he of course
More
he goes
about Bo
after.
Burnham,
Yeah, he goes
though.
after that. He goes after like he even like I appreciate the fact he has a song called "Problematic" because he was a little edgy and said some things in previous specials that he kind of regrets saying and using terms that he kind of regrets using. And because they are hateful, hurtful terms now. And granted, he was using them mainly towards himself, but he still kind of regrets. There's some things he said, and he's just like, he looks back now. He was a young kid. He tried to push the edge, and but it's also, while that song is self-reflective, there's also a lot of these comedians that have gotten in trouble, like Louis C.K. and the stuff that he did, you know,
Yeah, but I still love
and
him. It doesn't matter about what he does. His comedy is freaking hilarious. I really don't care. Still would watch him all the time. He's one of my favorite comedians. I don't give a shit what he does in his personal time. His comedy is hilarious.
well, I mean, it would be like saying that what Harvey Weinstein did in his personal time, doesn't matter. But sexual assault is sexual assault. That's a problem.
Uh,
Sexual
well,
assault's a problem. Um,
I still think he's funny.
Monica says, D gonna have a private island, just have a bunch of rescues.
I think that we should take all the pedophiles or people that are saying that it's okay to have sex with 12-year-olds. Like, that's like they're trying to make that a thing.
Yeah.
Remember? And let's just put all those people on the island. So I'll buy it. We'll just like do like a survivor episode. They'll kill each other and then I can live on there and happy because well, they're all done. Let's do that.
As a disclaimer, the thoughts and words of Denise Jackson do not necessarily reflect those of the Depths of Laughter podcast or the rest of
It
the company.
should.
But
It should.
I'm not. I am not. I am not endorsing killing anyone. So I'm just gonna put that out there.
Sorry. I totally back my thoughts 100% on that. I'm sorry. There you should not. But anyway, back to Bo Burnham. Um I really think that he nailed white girls perfectly, like pumpkins, latte spice. One,
Well,
he even did like the one shoulder with the shirt the whole time.
yeah. Um, there was so many. So I'm looking at the rest of the thing. Like there's when he his song about turning 30.
Yeah.
Again, this is where it gets kind of personal and emotional because he talks about how uh in 10 more years he's going to kill himself, and then he has once he gets to 40, he's like, I can't be any older than that, so I'm going to kill myself. Then he has to do a whole thing where he sits down, guys, I'm really not going to kill myself, and he makes a joke of it. But if you look at him, it's early on in the year. So one thing you notice throughout the special is you can tell where he shot things. Because early on, his hair is shorter. He doesn't have any facial hair. And then as it goes on, facial hair, he grows a beard. He doesn't shave and he doesn't cut his hair. So by the
Mhm.
end of the special, his hair is very long and his beard is long.
Mhm.
So as he's talking about not wanting to kill himself, but he does it in this kind of like crude, funny way where he's kind of making a joke of suicide. But he
Yeah.
then projects that onto his t-shirt where his hair is much longer and the beard is longer. And you can look at his face and tell, like, that was not the way to handle that situation. And I still feel the way I do.
Yeah.
He's like, suicide's not funny, but at the same time, I relate.
Well, that's when he said, like, I wish that we could take, like, if you could, like, kill yourself for 18 months and then come back. Like, yes, I would totally do that, dude. Yes, time out. I need a time out from life for a little bit. I would love to do that. And you wanted to do a book about that. Like, we totally,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole process of being able to take time off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's like, I don't know, I guess it would technically be like an 18-month coma, but like by choice. I don't know,
I know
like if
that
that would be the.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like very horrible to say because there's people that are actually having to do that without like making that choice.
Well, again, that, like, without going into detail just yet, because I said I need more answers, the discussion you and
Yeah.
I had earlier today.
Yeah, well.
So it's yeah. So I understand the downside to it, but at the same time, we even as we discussed it further and we started talking about this book I want to write based
Yeah.
around that, we realized that if this technology existed, capitalism would rear its ugly head again,
Oh
and
yeah, it would.
rich
Absolutely.
people would have unlimited access to
Yes.
just kill themselves, take
Yes.
some time off, and go away. Like, so if they did something problematic, they could just kill themselves for a year or 18 months or 2 years,
Yeah.
and then come back when everything's kind of like everybody's forgotten about it. Whereas the poor people who need stress relief, who need to get away, who need to, like, look, I just need to end it all and then come back. Maybe it'll be better. Those people wouldn't have access to it, or if they did, it would be like once ever. They only got one time to do it ever, and then after that, you'd have to like pay millions upon millions of dollars to do it or something. And so that it ended up becoming again a classism thing.
So I feel like it would be like that movie with Justin Timberlake with the time thing on their wrists.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like that. But then also it could be really bad and be like the movie Idiocracy.
Yeah.
And I totally see Idiocracy
So 2
real
points been
being a
brought up.
thing.
Monica says, but in 18 months, you or anybody wouldn't move forward.
Yeah.
You wouldn't move forward because obviously you're dead for 18 months, but
Well,
the
yeah.
world would move forward.
And that's where the
And
Idiocracy would
if you
come into
notice,
play.
so here's a prime example. Former NFL New England Patriot tight end Aaron Hernandez murdered 2 people. He went to prison, and in prison he killed himself. Guess what never gets talked about anymore? Even when his name comes up, nobody talks about the murders. They talk about the fact that he killed himself.
What?
People have the murders don't come up anymore. So this is why killing yourself for 18 months. So if you did something that was kind of problematic or rough, you kill yourself and then come back. People tend to, like, just during that 18 months kind of forget the stuff and just focus on the good memories. At least that's how I would approach it in the book, because you would be dead
Right.
for 18 months.
Yeah.
Jacques says, kill your social media instead. Here's the rub with that. That doesn't make your problems go away. If you were to take 18 months off and just live without stress. Now, there's other caveats that obviously have to go into this. because you would lose your house. Like if you're making house payments, but didn't make house payments for
Yeah.
18 months. So there would
Yeah.
have to be
A
other
lot of
caveats.
things. Yeah.
Obviously, the details around that time off would have to be fleshed out in the book, like I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
It couldn't just be you kill yourself for 18 months and come back. It's not like the snap where people were gone for
Right.
5 years. Well, actually,
That would be kind of cool.
actually, there's
Can we
kind
do
of an
that?
example. There's an example.
Yes.
So you guys remember in Falcon and the Winter Soldier
Yeah.
that an entire group of people end up becoming a group of terrorists because they were just trying to defend the people who were snapped away and then came back.
Yeah.
Like legit, there's an issue.
Mhm.
So there's more kind of
There is.
incitement. And by the way, this is recorded, so nobody steal my book idea, you bastards. All right.
I want to go back to Bo Burnham.
Yeah. To me, my favorite song in the whole thing was that "Funny Feeling." And again, this isn't really meant to be a funny song. My two favorite as much as I love his comedy, my two favorite Bo Burnham songs are "Art Is Dead" and "That Funny Feeling," and both of those are the two serious songs out of all his specials. But that song is pure dichotomy. Like again, word of the day, because he'll give an example of something like positive and then something negative, something positive, something negative, something supposed to be positive, something that's supposed to be negative, but then they're each flipped. Like the whole song's kind of about that, like that, and that's what he means by that funny feeling.
Mm.
But again, what is part of the chorus? Hey, what do you say? It'll be over soon.
Mm.
And you see these. A lot of people said it was staged, and obviously part of this is staged. It is a scripted. He wrote everything out, but like, you legit watch his mental breakdown throughout this special. You watch the isolation. You watch the need to be creative.
Well, yeah, and that's a part too that we need to talk about because of that need to be creative because sometimes like you can feel like you're putting your heart and soul into something and then it just doesn't fucking make sense to you and then you just like and you see that in that special where he's like really trying he does it like a couple times. He puts something out, it didn't work. One of them he kicked the camera like and just mad and then the other one he was like and then redo like this sucks, do this again. That happens to me like as a artist, like you just it just what you have in your head isn't what is coming out and you just are just like how do I make it happen? It's and I feel like if you just have a lot of other stuff going on, I don't know, you just got to reset and try again, but he was locked into that room, so it's
Yeah.
harder for him, but that was really beautiful that it was so raw. Like the whole thing was you just saw his genius and just totally raw and out there. And I loved and appreciated that so much.
He, yeah, it's, he's very open about it. There's so many things where he's taken kind of like a stab at current culture, like where he does
Yeah.
the Twitch stream, which is funny because
Hmm.
here I am streaming on Twitch, but he's
Yeah.
playing a game and the game is called Inside, and it's just him walking around, and all he can do is cry,
Oh yeah.
play the piano once, and that's his day.
Yeah.
But that came after there's a scene where a little bit later on you see him, he's sitting in front of the mirror talking about his mental state, and he just starts breaking down and crying,
Hmm.
like legit crying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
out of that pain, out of that emotional drainage he had in that moment, that mental breakdown, a light bulb went off and a new skit came out of it, and that was the Twitch scene skit.
Yep. It was
So
really cool.
that is definitive proof of what this entire podcast stands for.
Yep.
The emotion behind the comedy, the
Yep.
trauma that bores laughter.
Yep.
Like, there is no greater example of that in one full special than this special right here.
Yeah.
I
I would definitely recommend anybody that has not seen that to go watch it. It's like genius level comedy. Just very, very good.
it's Like even when he did like All Eyes on Me, where he puts the voice modulator on and he's trying to act like there's a crowd, and
Yeah,
like that was
yeah.
fun. Another thing he did, like as part of
You
his
can
like,
see him hitting the button
yeah,
too
you
to
see him
make like
hitting the
the
button,
crowd.
hitting the
Yeah.
button for crowd noise. Like
Yeah.
it's so just, but um,
Yep.
even when your creativity hits a block, it is your responsibility as an artist or comedian to try and channel that frustration into your work. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things about comedy that I love so much is that, and I wouldn't say he so much had hit a block, but it wasn't a block at the moment. He was still being creative, but out of this pain and suffering that he was living through, a new idea came about. And it gave us a very funny scene,
Yeah.
but also a very poignant scene. Maybe the frustration is missing from that creative spark. And Monica says, say that 3 times fast. Which one am I saying 3 times fast? Because I will try. Is it
I
the even when your creativity hits a block, it's your responsibility as an artist or comedian to try to channel that frustration into your work. Come on, even when it's your creative, oh, I can't do it. All right, I probably shouldn't be putting myself under that much stress, anyways. At this
You know
moment,
what? This special would not have worked if it was in front of an audience.
absolutely not. He could never
No.
tour this. He could never use an
No.
audience.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have worked. And it's because people have mirror brains and they have clap brains like Chad Daniels.
But guess what? There's actually a song where he kind of talks about that called "Don't Want to Know." So right before the intermission, he does a song called "I Don't Want to Know." He's like, "How are you feeling? Do you like the show? Or never mind, I don't want to know." Because normally a comedian can judge their jokes based off a crowd reaction. They have time to shop it around. So let's break down a special real quick. A normal comedy special. A comedian writes jokes, goes on tour for 6 months to a year, perfects the jokes, cut the ones that don't work, adds ones that do work,
Yeah.
perfects the timing, perfects how they work, and then
Yeah.
records a special.
Yeah.
This is the exact opposite.
Right.
He's just recording what is coming to mind, and he has no idea if it's going to work or not until after it's on Netflix.
And
So,
honestly, he doesn't care.
yeah, he also doesn't care.
He's interjecting crowd approval where it would
Oh, I'm
be.
supposed to say Twitch 3 times fast? Twitch,
Oh,
Twitch,
Twitch,
Twitch.
Twitch, Twitch.
Which, by the way, her autocorrect made it twist first, which is hilarious. I mean,
It's
I could
funny.
twist, but I'm in a chair. And I have a bad back. Probably not a good idea. And I'm still recovering from the drive.
Yeah. So
My
nine
neck
and a
is
half hours.
my neck is killing me. It hurts so
Seriously.
bad.
Vince, you
So
didn't
bad.
get like the icy patch.
Your mom can get the icy hot patch. How about that? She
Dang
probably
it.
does. But
Well, we should probably tell everybody like 9.5 hours there, 9.5 hours back. And somebody's so stubborn he wouldn't let me drive. So
your
I
mom's
just ended up
stubborn. Stop.
sleeping most of the time
You weren't
back.
feeling good. You needed to sleep. You were on medication. Last thing
I
I need is you
know.
driving and getting drowsy driving while I'm sleeping.
No, I would have been fine. I took a nap. But anyway, take care of yourself at the end of the day.
Oh, did y'all hear that?
No, I'm glad I didn't.
Oh,
I would throw up. Gross.
oh, that felt so good and it hurt so good.
It hurts so good.
It hurt so good. My
We
safe
should
word is
wrap this
pineapple.
up so you can go like
No,
stretch
no,
and
no.
stuff.
I'm
But
fine right now. I'm fine. But if you're needing to go, we can.
I feel like we should. It was really good talking about Bo Burnham. What was your most favorite part
Hold
of
on.
that special?
Real quick before we jump into that, and we will wrap it up there. But I have the fact
Yeah.
that Monica said it was both words, wind the tape back. I would like to mention that all of us are 40. Who says wind the tape back? Old people
Is that
do.
like slap my bitch up?
No, wind the tape back, as in rewind the VCR tape.
Oh yeah. Well,
For all those younger than 30, a VCR was a video camera recorder that played videotapes on a VHS.
no. Be kind, rewind.
Blockbuster.
Man.
Funny story about Blockbuster. There's one Blockbuster left. It's in Oregon.
Does anybody know who Blockbuster is anymore?
Well,
Just
here's why
like,
they know.
are we
And
just?
I know it's become part of popular culture again
Oh
because
God,
there's one Blockbuster left in the world. It's in Oregon, and they have the absolute best Twitter ever. Because
awesome.
anything happens, they then put, well, at least we're still here, or like, could you
Oh my
rewind that?
God.
Like they put things in there like, but could you rewind that and return it, please, or stuff like that.
Oh,
But
that's
they also turned it
awesome.
into an Airbnb, so you can
Cool.
stay there and you have full range of the entire store. So all
Oh,
the candy is
sweet.
yours. You can watch whatever movies. They have a projector set up.
Shut up. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
They do
I
it
want to go
once
do
they
that.
do it
That's
once a
cool.
year and it's super cheap. I think it's like $90 a night.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah,
And there's
so
so much splooge. Like, yeah, be careful.
I'm
So,
sure they clean it. I hope they clean it.
yeah.
They don't clean it. I used to work at a Blockbuster. They don't clean it.
Not for $99.
Um
They're not cleaning shit. You
um
enter at your own risk.
I still like to go. I think it'd be pretty cool. It might look like a Jackson Pollock painting if you put a black light on it, but I digress.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Um
I'll just visualize it in my head and say I went there and we're good.
Jacques said LMFAO, oh my god, you guys. And then he said he's only 40 on the outside. I'm 40 on the inside. We've discussed that earlier today, didn't we, Jacques?
We have
I
had
am
so
40
many
on the
people
inside.
though, but we've seen people like younger than us that look older than us. Like, wow. So thankful.
Yeah, I
Thank
told
you.
that story about
Thank you,
the
God.
grocery store.
Ugh.
That was weird. It was like Popeye but with tits.
Oh my God.
And she was only 36.
Can we get that on
But
a bumper sticker? Sounds like a bumper
she looked like
sticker.
Popeye but with tits.
Jesus is the answer. Who farted?
Yeah. We're always going to throw back to Chad Daniels, which is why she's wearing that shirt, by the way. It's like Clap Brains is a Chad Daniels joke, which we'll probably dive into that special another day because it's brilliant.
I would love to get him on. Hen. Chad
Yeah.
Daniels. Come on.
So I guess, should I mention the other news that we got?
Do. Yes, please
Okay.
do. That's amazing.
So the other day, I had kind of one of those like God showing you signs moments.
Mm-hmm.
So I watch a lot of G4 TV. I love G4 TV. I'm so glad it's back. Welcome back, G4 TV. And they were doing X Play, which is their video game eccentric show. And the main discussion, though, was around the fact that E3 is once again canceled this year. And it's not canceled due to COVID. It's canceled due to the fact that a lot of people have, a lot of like big name companies like Sony, Nintendo, and even now Xbox have kind of pulled out of E3 because they're doing their own versions, their own conventions based solely around their own products. So instead of being at E3, they're just doing their own thing. Like Sony has the State of Play, Nintendo has their own, and Microsoft is going to have their own now as well. So E3 is kind of dead. So what they were doing throughout the episode was talking about their E3 memories. And one of the guys, Gerard, the completionist, he's well known on YouTube. He's called a completionist because that's what he does on his YouTube channel. He completes games. So you get to watch him complete a game all the way through. Also, Gerard, one of the like sweetest, most wholesome guys on the internet. Love him to death. I like want to give him a hug. And he has a great beard, so he's okay
But
in my
you
book.
digress.
Yes, I do. Of course I do, because I ramble.
Say it.
But he was telling a story of an E3 back in the day when he was brought in as a kind of YouTube influencer to test a game. But when you're an influencer, you're brought in with celebrities so that the visual looks good. He happened to be brought in with Dane Cook and a couple other comedians. The problem was the company then decided, you explain the game to the comedians. But it was his first time playing the game. Yes, of course, Jacques, with a little self-promotion, there's the Ubisoft Developers...
Say that three times fast.
The Ubisoft Developers Convention.
And go. Second time.
Your mom. So... what was I saying? Oh, so anyways... Like while he's trying to learn how to play the game, at the same time he's trying to explain it to these comedians who are already drunk and don't care to be there. So Dane Cook and his guys, they kind of got frustrated and they just like, all right, we're out, and they just left. And so in my head, I'm like, that's kind of funny. But at that exact same moment, Dane Cook himself went live on Twitter with an AMA, which is an Ask Me Anything. And I was like, I see this all the time, but I never click on it. It's kind of kismet that his name just came up. Let me click on it. So I clicked on it. And the very first person to ask the question was, I don't really have a question. I just wanted to shoot my shot to see if I would get selected. And I want to say that I love you as a comedian. And I was like, you know what? Let me shoot my shot. So I hit request question. But there's over 500 people in this thing. So I don't think I'm going to get it. He's only doing it for 30 minutes. There's no way I'll get asked. So then a local Bostonian stand-up comedian that he knows got a question in. And then he went to the next person, but their microphone didn't work. So he kicked them. Then he went to the next person, and their microphone didn't work. So he kicked them. Now all of a sudden, I'm up. I'm like, oh shit. So I was like, first off, been a huge fan ever since your, Comedy Central Central Presents special back in the day. Um, and so I've started a podcast called Depths of Laughter, where we discuss the emotion behind the comedy. And you've been through a lot of trauma, both publicly with like your brother and losing your father, as well as many things privately. How have you used comedy as kind of a therapy to help you through those situations? And immediately he was like, what was your podcast called again? I said The Depths of Laughter. He's like, that's a brilliant, brilliant idea. He's like, I love that. Nobody talks about that. Nobody discusses the emotion behind the comedy. He's like, I was going to do something very similar in a documentary form before COVID hit, but I love that. He had me pitch the website on Twitch and on YouTube. He had me like let everybody know where to find it. We did get a couple people to come follow us from that, so I'm greatly appreciative of that. So I said, well, there's a part 2 to this question. Let me shoot my shot. Can we get you to do an interview on the podcast? And he said, absolutely yes.
Yay.
So I don't know exactly when, because he told me that he schedules his podcast. He'll schedule a whole day. He'll do like an 8 to 10 hour block where he just does all his podcast interviews. But his assistant, he told me to message him on Instagram. I did. He has seen it. He has forwarded it to his assistant. So we are on the log. So the next time he does another podcast sit down, we will be one of those podcasts that he will do. So we were talking about getting big guests, but down the road, but it looks like coming up, Dane Cook is going to be on the podcast.
We didn't expect it to happen this soon.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
It's very cool.
And speaking of shooting my shot, during the interview, I will push him to let me help him work on the documentary.
I think that would be amazing. I don't have a problem interviewing people.
I got to use that film degree for something, right?
I mean, yeah. And I can use my love of people to help and get some really good questions out of them. I think it would be really fun.
We're going to Sean Evans the shit out of this interview, too. For those who don't know, Sean Evans is the host of Hot Ones. Arguably the best interview skills of anybody on anywhere. How often do you watch Hot Ones? He goes, oh my God, how did you even know that, when he'll ask a question? By the way, if you haven't watched it yet, watch the Dave Grohl episode of Hot Ones and watch the Josh Brolin one. Both fantastic.
And Kevin Hart too. That was funny. I liked him on there because I love Kevin Hart anyway.
We have digressed a bit, but we'll get back to it.
Yes.
So final thoughts on the I'll let you go first. Final thoughts on the special.
No, you go first.
Your mom goes first.
Yeah, your turn. You always put me on the spot. I'm putting you right back on you.
That's what a host is supposed to do.
I'm the host now. Go.
I'm the captain now. Look at me. Look at me.
Don't talk when I'm not talking to you. Talk, but don't talk.
Shut up when I'm talking to you.
Yes.
Do you hear me? Answer me.
Oh my God.
Again, brain. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've watched this special with no exaggeration at least 100 times. I was watching it every single night for 2 months straight, and I now watch it at least twice a week. In fact, I'm going to watch it tonight. It's just beyond brilliant. I cannot stress enough.
It really is. Yeah.
His musical talent has grown exponentially. His lyrical talent has grown exponentially. His genius has grown exponentially. I couldn't be more proud of the growth of a comedian I've seen over my lifetime.
Yeah.
And like, I'm happy he's still with us. I hope that continues. There's a lot of pain. And he's very adamant about the fact that he did not have a hard life growing up. He grew up as a middle-class suburbanite in a lovely white picket fence town with 2 loving parents, and, never had to want for anything because they were upper middle class. So he was fine.
He even has a song called White Privilege
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like
on that. Yeah.
he
This is
he.
crazy. Yeah.
But that's the thing. We talked about rich people not having problems, and even like the uber rich, maybe, but like everybody has problems. Everybody has mental illnesses. Everybody can suffer from depression.
Yeah.
And depression doesn't mean that you've had a trauma in your past to cause it. Yes, you can be depressed due to trauma, but
Right.
depression is a chemical imbalance in your brain that could have no bearing on anything whatsoever. You're just depressed.
Mm.
And so everybody suffers in some way, shape, or form, no matter how good you have it.
Yeah.
And that's the one of the best things to get out of this is the fact that everybody suffers, and that's okay.
And it's okay to go talk to somebody.
It's okay to seek help or find help in whatever way
Yes.
that works.
And
Like in
please
his case,
do.
comedy.
Yeah.
And so many comedians do that. But like we talked about, we talked before about Richard Jennings. His comedy became a cry for help versus being the help he was crying for. And
Mm.
that's why he ended his life.
Yeah.
So whatever way you're using to cope, whatever which way you're using to heal, make sure it's working. And if it's not, find other avenues, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of us don't have a lot of time on this planet,
Right.
and we have to make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And what better way to do that than with laughter? Fill
Yeah.
the world with laughter, not hate, not
Right.
hurt, not pain. Let's fill it with laughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
Absolutely.
goal. That's my purpose on this planet is to make others laugh. My whole
Yeah.
life I have been on. I have been a person who's willing to make a jackass of himself all times. Why? Because I get to see other people smile. And that means the world to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like we went and did karaoke Saturday night. I can't sing,
So much fun.
but I get up there and I perform.
You did awesome.
Nah.
Best creep and hootie ever. For
There's nothing
karaoke.
better in the world than to be with the ones you love and to smile.
Yep. So
Now,
much
this is
fun.
not me telling people, oh, if you're depressed, just smile more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's a
Yeah.
dick thing to say. And if you do say it, you
Right.
should get Will Smith. Um,
Is that a thing now? Is that what
I
the
don't know. I'm
term
going to make
is?
it a thing now. I'm going to make it a thing now.
Oh my god.
But
No, would it be Chris Rock then?
no, he got
Because,
slapped. You should be
but
slapped. Maybe would it be Chris
um,
Rock? I don't know. I don't want
I
to
think that
disparage.
I should.
I don't want to
Eh,
disparage Chris Rock because
all
he's a good
right.
guy. So
How
I'm not going to
about
make a
just
drug. I'm not going to make a derogatory term out of Chris Rock. He didn't deserve it.
deleted?
Yeah.
Dude, Jim Carrey.
Uh, yeah. But everybody should be out. Like, I'll say this. Again, we all have very limited time. Whether that time be
Yeah.
a day, a year, 10 years, 80 years. That's still a limited amount of time on this planet.
Right.
Make somebody smile once a day.
That'd
Do
be
something nice
awesome.
for somebody. Make
Yeah.
somebody laugh. Laughter legitimately. There's a reason they say laughter is the best medicine. No, it doesn't cure polio. It's not going to cure cancer, but it's going to help you. And how many people have talked about how they have an illness or they have something wrong, but then they finally find happiness and they find laughter and their body starts to heal?
Well, I feel like that's maybe the reasons why they like have those petting farms that go into like hospitals and stuff, you know? What
Sorry,
happened? Did
Monica just
somebody
mentioned
say something?
Monica mentioned that her mom still loves my cow pants, which I still have those, by the way.
Oh my God, I cannot believe that's one more person that remembers your
Yeah.
dang cow
I should
pants that we
probably
just
hang
talked
them up. I
about.
should probably like hang them
You
up back here.
should. Yes.
Because I still
It's
have them.
awesome.
I still have them. They're buried
So
right now in the
everybody
shed,
can
but
see them. We've already talked about them like 4 episodes now. Like
uh,
you need to like
they're
legit show people your cow pants
they're
at
hard
this
to get to at
point.
the moment. They're buried in my shed right now, but I'll get to them eventually. But yeah, I love those cow pants too. I definitely
That's
couldn't fit in them.
hilarious. Oh God, no.
My fat ass is definitely not fitting in those.
You
But
do not look the way that you did in high school, like at all. So yeah. Totally different. I feel like if we showed people your photo, they'd be like, that's not Vince, you're lying.
Hold on a second.
Are you gonna try to find one?
I
I'm
have
gonna say I
some.
can go get my yearbook right now, probably, and find you real quick. That's so funny. But
Hang on.
anyway, talking more about Bo Burnham. Um,
No, not that one. Let's go
oh,
with. Well, this one's gonna make you a little bit sad because it's got Carl in it.
you still look like you with Carl in it, though.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, you can't.
That's a little bit out of
Oh,
focus.
yeah,
Next
but you
week,
can still
next week
kind of
I'll
see
share it.
it.
Next week I'll share the
Yeah.
picture. But
Yeah.
yeah, I look vastly different. Much shorter
Let's
too.
give a shout out to Carl. I love you,
Yeah.
Carl.
Well,
We love you and we
he's a big
miss
part of this
you.
episode. He really is. Because like I said, it
Yes.
just happened to be the day this special came out was the day we lost him.
Yeah.
He was the reason I watch it and the reason I still watch it. And now with the news I got today, even more reason to watch it.
You might as well tell
So no, I won't.
people.
I'll maybe next week when I have some more answers come Thursday.
All
We'll
right.
talk more about it. But,
Well, everybody have a good night. This was fun.
you didn't talk about what you liked of the special. I did
From
all the
Bo
talking.
Burnham.
Yeah.
Um, I like that he was just by himself. Like I just until you actually spend time by yourself, which I'm not on social media, and that's for a reason because you already know what people are going to say when you post something. So I think that was my favorite part is that he was just literally by himself and everything that came out was not because anybody said no, don't post that or no, that's going to be offensive or it was just really really raw and just him genuinely 100% him how he was feeling in that moment and you got to see him and his genius. And I really do say that with full force. Genius. That man is a genius. I love the way his brain works. Very, very talented. And I would love to interview him.
Yeah, he is
Very
definitely one of
cool.
those at the top of that list.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's him, Chad Daniels, Jim Carrey.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
which
And Cat Williams. I'm sorry. I love
yeah,
Cat Williams.
which apparently
Cat Williams.
Jim Carrey. Just sidebar. Apparently, he's going to be retiring from acting for a while, if not forever.
Oh, well,
Which
that's
also, by
good
the way,
for
Bruce
him.
Willis. By the way, let's put T's and P's out there for Bruce Willis. Y'all know I
Yeah.
love me some Die Hard. I love Bruce
Yes.
Willis.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he's got I forgot the name of it. It's kind of it's like a weird short word, but it's hard to pronounce. But he has a disease,
Aphasia or
aphasia or
something.
something like where it
Yeah.
affects your communications abilities.
But also
So
Fifth Element.
yeah,
He
Fifth
was
Element,
awesome.
one of the greatest movies
Yeah.
of
Yes.
all time. It's in my top 5.
Yes. Yes.
But unfortunately, that means that he is unable to.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
Like he
he's going
has
to
to
lose his ability to
communicate by
talk.
like
Yep.
pointing out pictures of things. Like eventually.
But so
Yeah.
T's and P's out to him, of course. Thoughts and
Yes.
prayers. So
Absolutely. I
again,
hate that actually. T's and P's. Don't ever say that again.
yeah, I
Just
realized when it came, I was
thoughts
like, oh,
and
I don't like
prayers. I
that.
don't like
I don't like
that.
that.
No.
Yeah, I was like,
Ew.
I didn't.
It sounds like toilet paper.
That's
That's
why I said
horrible.
that's why I said when I
No.
went through and changed it, I was just like, oh, I don't like that. That's why I said thoughts and
No.
prayers. Oh, my
Yeah,
camera
yeah.
froze again. I guess that's a good time to go ahead and
Yes.
call it.
You are.
All right, thanks everybody, and we will see you guys next week.